Sir Alex, do you know what happened after you left? Managers came, managers failed.
I was crying, because I don't remember a thing.
Manchester United, the empire you built, fell into chaos.
Since 2012, Manchester United have failed to lift the Premier League trophy. 13 long years, drowning in chaos.
Fight our way through the changes that are necessary to get Manchester United back to where it should be.
Managers came, stars arrived, billions were spent.
Money taken away from them, and they took £200 million out. Now, I know that your business partners, I know you can't criticise them, I know where you're at.
But the glory never returned. Old Trafford, once a fortress, now a shadow of its past. Manchester United, a fallen giant. But what if I told you, United's future is already written? Not in Manchester, not in England, but in Lisbon, Portugal. This is not a rebuild. This is cloning. And if it works, it could bring United back to glory. But can a Portuguese experiment survive the Premier League? Since Ferguson left, United have tried everything. Pragmatists, tacticians, club legends, yet every rebuild collapsed.
There's audible boos around Old Trafford.
Why? Because they lost what made them United. Youth. Fearlessness. Attacking football.
Paul Scholes, the most brilliant goal. Take a bow, David Beckham.
That was United's DNA. But in the last decade, it disappeared.
I'm doing everything I know.
And then came a coach. From Portugal, a coach with a plan to clone United's DNA back to life. But before we understand the cloning, we need to go back to the birthplace of Amorim's revolution. Sporting Lisbon, a club of legends left to fade into obscurity. While Benfica and Porto ruled the kingdom of Portuguese football, Sporting fell behind, the mighty lion, mocked, dismissed, a shadow of its former self. They had become a laughingstock. But Amorim didn't just coach, he rebuilt the club's soul, youth over veterans. Identity over fear.
Xhaka. Advantage played. Gonçalves has tried the chip. Ramsdale back pedaling. Oh! It's a remarkable.
Against all odds, Sporting became champions. That is the blueprint now being cloned at Old Trafford. But how do you clone Lisbon into Manchester? By the way, if you love deep football stories like this, hit subscribe. It helps us bring you more documentaries every week. At Sporting, Amorim's system was simple, but ruthless. A 3-4-3 that lived on pressing, width, and vertical speed.
I want people to understand who Amorim is. I want people to listen to what I'm going to say now, because I think it's important that he has already run this course before. Let me just take you back to when he was at Sporting Lisbon. He went in there, immediately changed the formation to 3-4-3. Immediately. Did not revert back to anything else. Played 3-4-3, just continued doing that. Now, they didn't win the league that year, and they wasn't good that year at all, right? But the club stuck with him. And what they allowed him in the summer of after that first season was to have an absolute colour of all the players that he didn't want. There were players in there that he thought weren't good enough. Do you know how many players that he got rid of that window?
How many?
17 players. He said, you are not a Ruben Amorim player. Get out of my club. Clean the decks, clear the decks, right? He was allowed to do that. And that's my point again. He was allowed to get rid of the dead wood, the rubbish, the ones that he didn't think were good enough or could play his formation.
At Manchester United, the same blueprint is taking shape. At Sporting, Gonçalo Inácio played with calm composure when in possession. yet showed relentless aggression whenever the team lost the ball. Without it, the first line of build-up and the last wall of defense. At United, that role is mirrored by Yoro, a teenager trusted to step forward, play through the press, and lock down the back line. On the flanks, Amorim built weapons. At Sporting, Nuno Mendes surged like a jet down the left. Explosive overlaps, fearless dribbles, endless energy. At United, that same fire burns in Dorgu. Quick transitions, wide overloads, always pushing the game higher up the pitch. In midfield, Sporting's talisman was Pedro Gonçalves. Not a traditional playmaker, but a roaming assassin. He drifted between lines, struck from distance, and carried the creative weight.
Gonçalves has tried the chip, Ramsdale backpedaling. Oh!
At United, Amorim splits that responsibility. Cunha and Mbumo, the fearless dribbler who breaks defenses apart, and Bruno Fernandes, the captain, orchestrating everything, pressing, passing, leading, and up front. Amorim always had a striker who sacrificed everything for the system. At Sporting, it was Paulinho, not glamorous, but relentless. He pressed, he battled, he created space for others to shine. At United, that figure is Sesko. But Sesko is different. He is faster, he is stronger. He is Amorim's upgraded weapon. A striker who not only fights for the system, but can decide games by himself. The roles are the same. Even the profiles of players are the same. Amorim has taken the Lisbon model and is cloning it at Old Trafford. Only this time, the pieces are sharper, the players are stronger, and the target is the Premier League crown. Ruben Amorim's football is vertical, ruthless, a 3-4-3 that presses high, traps opponents, and punishes hesitation with lightning speed. At Sporting, every player had a role in the machine. Porro stretched wide. Nuno Mendes stormed forward. And the midfield pivot dictated everything. Simple, sharp, unstoppable. And now, look at United. Dalot pushing wide, just like Porro once did. Dorgu, fearless, down the flank, echoing Nuno Mendes' explosiveness. Kobbie Mainoo, the heartbeat, the pivot, building play with the same calm precision Amorim trusted in Lisbon. And up front, Zacko, a striker who stalks the shoulder of defenders, always ready to strike. Amorim's perfect vertical weapon.
Done by Benjamin Sesko.
Sesko!
And a fine goal for Benjamin Sesko. It's the left foot of Ram. It's a free header.
It looks like Sporting, but it feels like Ferguson. The courage to play forward, the risk of pressing high, the trust in youth, and the roar of Old Trafford, reborn. So what happens when you clone a miracle into a giant? Before you rebuild a giant, you must first lay the foundations. For Amorim, that means one thing: identity. Not transfers, not hype, not excuses. Identity. At Sporting, he gave youth trust before reputation. The badge was bigger than the name. It was discipline, intensity, sacrifice. Now, at Manchester United, the same rules apply. Lenny Yoro, a teenager, trusted to play with courage at the back. Lisandro Martinez, the enforcer, setting the tone. Dalot, once inconsistent, reborn as a soldier of the system. And behind them, Onana, not just a goalkeeper, but the first attacker, launching moves with his feet. This isn't chaos. This isn't survival. This is structure. Every sprint, every duel, every pass belongs to the collective. Amorim isn't just building a team. He's laying the foundation of an empire. If the cloning succeeds, United will not just copy Sporting, they will become unstoppable. Sesko, a hybrid of Højlund and Ronaldo, Mainoo the calm heartbeat like Scholes. Yoro, the new Rio Ferdinand. A dynasty built not on money, but On identity, it sounds like a dream, but it's already in motion. The only question, can the Premier League destroy the clone before it matures?
I think the way they played today, I know Rob was maybe a little critical of the front players, but I think against most other Premier League teams, they would have scored today. There was a lot of energy, there was a lot of quality, and Bournemouth had plenty of opportunities. It's just Arsenal's defence is so strong. It wasn't a lot of silky, kind of slow, patient build-up. It was kind of direct from Man United, but that's what he wanted. Aggressive football, front foot football, and I thought they were really impressive. They really, really were. You think about the save from Raya that Tim described, you know, they hit the post in the first half. I mean, they came very...
Cloning Sporting into United is bold. Some call it naive. Others call it genius.
Weeks that they've got no Champions League football, no Europa League. I think Manchester United will surprise a few people. Last week I had them 6th to 8th. But I have changed my mind over this week. I thought that performance yesterday was a really good performance. I genuinely liked it. They were high energy. We saw some stats before. It's the first time they've kept a higher possession, or the first time they've kept 60% possession against the top 3 team for 10 years. I think they won 70% of the duels yesterday. First time they've done that for 9 years. 22 shots on target.
For the first time in years, United fans feel hope. Not in signings, not in slogans, but in a plan. Manchester United's future will not be bought. It will be cloned. For over a decade, Manchester United wandered through the dark. Managers came and went. Billions were spent, yet the soul of the club remained broken. But now, the tide is turning. Under Amorim, there is belief again. The press is sharper. The attack is fearless. The youth are trusted. The identity, reborn. The roar of Old Trafford is no longer nostalgia. It is real. It is alive. It is Ferguson's courage, fused with Amiorim's blueprint. Sporting Lisbon was the test. Manchester United is the destiny. A fallen giant. Resurrected. Subscribe and witness history.